Hello, I'm Daniel Holmes, and this is synchronous versus asynchronous learning for parents and students. The whole idea is we're just going to jump into what synchronous learning is. So, when we were at the home for the pandemic, a lot of students had to work on their own on assignments the teacher gave them, and then they had to figure it out. Well, that's called asynchronous learning. So the benefits of something like that is it's has flexible time scheduling. Students have more time to think about things more deeply, and they can work on their own pace. But it has a few drawbacks, like there's no instant feedback from the teachers. There's that no one-on-one connection. There's less collaboration with other students. So in the classroom, we try to do a little bit of both in the classroom. So when we're doing synchronous learning, that's when we're doing like class lectures or group projects where people are collaborating together. And it's basically your regular classroom. Uh, It can be done online, but it's most effective in person. Asynchronous, on the other hand, like we just said, was used a lot during the pandemic when everybody was online. But they're interchangeable. They can both be in the classroom and both online. So when we do it in the classroom, you'll look at things like Lexia or Dreambox, and those things can come home and students can practice on their own for their math or for their reading phonics programs. So if you feel like your students need the extra practice or your kids need that little extra push, you can bring those programs home. You just have to sign in through their school emails. Now, the pros for synchronous learning, like we said, is we build that social connection. We're together. But if we have a problem online, it disrupts the whole learning environment. And that's why we almost always do synchronous learning in the classroom. And another drawback is it can be a little bit overwhelming for students who are shy or struggle with the current material. So we'll use a lot of times those asynchronous programs to fill in those gaps where students are struggling and they're too shy to ask for help. It requires more self-discipline though. Even though they need that extra help and they're trying to fill in those gaps, sometimes students don't want to do it as much. It's not always fun to do extra work, right? So that's where we're going to need that emotional support at home. And when they're working on something at home, you guys, as parents, we really need you to step in and make sure they're doing all right. Make sure they're balancing their screen time and their work time. Make sure they're getting their assignments done and see when they need help. They can always reach out to you. Okay, tips for parents. Establish some routines, monitor their screen time, stay in contact with the teachers if they're working at something at home, and encourage them to take breaks and get some exercise, get away from the computer. For students, the tips we have for success is same thing. Stay in contact with the teachers and focus on your work, take breaks, get off the screen once in a while. Anyway, that's it for synchronous versus asynchronous. It's pretty simple. Just when you're on your own, you need that extra discipline, that little motivation to fill in those gaps where you're struggling. And when you're in the classroom, myself or another teacher will be there to help.